This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. We're going to talk about your dog today and your dog's behavior and getting it the way you want it to be. Part of that involves correction of certain behaviors, but are you actually correcting the behavior the right way? Probably not. I know I wasn't until I met her. Lots to talk about today. She is the woman behind Animal Psychology Center in South Dakota. Works with people there and also virtually. And she's Katherine Andrews, back on the program with us. How are you doing today?
Hey, Steve, doing very well. We're below zero here, so spending a lot more time indoors. Hey.
I think I've turned the heat up 5 times in the last 5 hours. No, it hasn't even been. It's like 4 hours, not even.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like I'm finding myself home and here work in studio, keeping the temperature higher than I ever did. And at home, I'm like, I don't want to run too high because, it just wastes money. But I'm like, I'm cold. and you're in Dakota, South Dakota. I'm in New York. It's freaking cold here, too. Like last night, wind chill was literally zero. Yeah.
Below here, which when I go outside, my glasses, which have some metal in them, freeze to my face almost immediately. And I'm like, and it tears the skin off. But I noticed like today when I was getting dressed, I'm like, do you realize I have 4 layers of clothes on? Like 4 layers of clothes. And this just is inside. This isn't even what I put on to go outside. And when I say go outside, I'm talking about to take the garbage out. I put on parka and sweat and yeah.
I don't want to do this just to compare, but it's warmer there than it is here. Not even kidding. I had to look. I'm a geek like that. It's 2 degrees warmer by you. You've got 27 degrees. We got 25 here. That doesn't take into account the low tonight or the wind chill or anything like that.
Right. That's the thing about South Dakota, which is so weird because I've lived all over the country, is in this freaking place, you can have a temperature of 27 or something, and then at night it drops to 40 below with the wind chill, and it'll be really weird like that. And we have wind that goes from 65 miles an hour to 85 miles an hour, which is hurricane wind. And people here didn't know that till I moved here. And I'm like, because I used to live in Houston, and like, do you know you have hurricane wind here? And they'd be like, no, we don't. No, we don't. And then I looked it up. 85 miles is level 3 hurricane wind, and it goes to only level 5. Yeah. These people had no idea. They were like, nah, it's just high wind. Why not?
Well, the plus side is another few months, 3, 2, whatever, we'll start feeling warmer. So corrections within our dogs. How do you define that?
Well, let me just give you an example so you can kind of get a visual. I have a little dog that has become a client, and he's a cute, fluffy little thing. And his name is Reggie, and Reggie is a little little poodle Lhasa, and he's so fluffy and cute. Everybody wants to pet him, and he looks really sweet. And so as soon as you pet him, he has decided that he's going to bite you, and he's very quick about it, and he's very sneaky about it. So he's bitten a number of people. And when they brought him to me, I go, okay, well, let's see how this works, because I got to look at the behavior. And so they present him, and he looks friendly, and I try to pet him. He almost nailed me, and I'm really good at getting out of the way. And I'm like, whoa, he gives you no warning. And they're like, yeah, because most dogs do, because they don't want to bite you. This one does. And so I'm like, okay, so he's totally got the wrong information. So here's the thing. What do you guys do when he does this? And they say, oh, we just go, Reggie, it's okay, it's all right. So I'm saying, okay, so what you're doing is in dog language is you're giving him a lot of attaboys for biting me and these other people. And they're like, really? I'm like, in dog language, you're telling him, do more of that. We want you to bite these people. We want you to trick them into coming closer and biting. And they're like, well, we never thought of it that way. So now we have to rework these neural pathways in Reggie's little mind and get him to see that, dude, you can't bite people. So the first time we disagreed with him, he pitched a fit. I mean, he just threw himself on the ground and acted like I was trying to kill him. And of course, his parents were he's got two mommies. They were very worried. They're like, oh no, and I'm like, it's okay. These are what's called objections, because anytime you change something, and kids do this too, sometimes spouses, they like, no, wait a minute. I don't want to change this. This has been working for me. So you have to, what do? You ignore the objections and you just go with the good behavior. And then finally, when Reggie exhibited some good behavior, we were like, yes, that's it, Reggie. And we gave him a treat. We let him have some freedom. And so by the end of the first session, I wasn't able to pet him yet, but I was able to get him to walk on the leash with me and at least accept me as a pack member. And, we'll get there. We'll get there because they want to make him a service dog. And there's no way he can go in public places and be biting people, right?
Hmm. Um, I believe that most of us are guilty of doing the, good boy, good girl, and we think it's a good thing, but we don't realize what it's reinforcing. Uh, Behavior that in our world is unacceptable. How about some other scenarios where we could be or should be doing something to correct, but we might be doing it wrong?
Yeah, I'll give you another scenario of somebody who contacted me, and we're going to be working with their pit bull, and this pit bull is 3 years old. And this happens sometimes, like sometimes suddenly you'll see a behavior that you've never seen before. It surfaces and it just broadsides you. You're just absolutely dumbfounded. This dog has pack mates. He's been to her mom's house. She has dogs. This dog has been to dog parks and everything. And one day, and by the way, she has an 8-year-old and a baby on the way. This dog, her name is Bindi. Bindi just outright attacked her mom's dog. And because she had her other dogs there and her mom's dog, it became a massive pack fight. And she ended up with 2 broken fingers and stitches. And thank God her 8-year-old daughter wasn't hurt, her mom wasn't hurt. But some of the dogs got hurt. And since then, she's had several more incidences of some pretty serious fights. And she's like, I'm a vet tech. I've seen this happen before. I don't want to euthanize this dog. I've seen people who are trainers just recommend euthanasia. And she goes, that's why I'm coming to you, because you're an animal behaviorist. And I know you deal with the worst of the worst. And I'm asking you for your expertise because I know this is what you see. And I said, yeah, I see I'm the last hope. And she said, yeah, you're my last hope. So I haven't seen this dog yet, but I've had many case histories that mimic this entirely. And this is a little bit different than what we just saw happen with Reggie, because this is something that it could be a wrong idea and it could be neural pathways that need clearing, but it also could be something called idiopathic rage. And I want to caution you about reading about idiopathic rage on the internet. There's a lot of misinformation about it, but I just did some work with my veterinarian with the University of California Veterinary School on idiopathic rage because I see probably as much of it as Cesar Millan does because of being a behavioralist. Because people come from all over the country to see me and Caesar and others. Like there's not a lot of us out there. So, what we have found is that idiopathic rage is in the frontal temporal lobe, which is the place in the brain which controls aggression and rage, which is why they call it idiopathic rage. Idio meaning we don't know where it comes from. Pathic is pathology, and rage meaning that's where it is. It's in that that control panel that contains rage. So not a good place for it to be, right? Because when it turns on to that emotion, and whatever's in front of that dog is going to be destroyed.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
What
Well,
triggers that to go on?
here's the thing. It's much akin to brain cancer. It starts usually when the dog is between 2 and 5. And this is what we're finding out. We didn't know these things even 5 years ago. And it's just like brain cancer. Why does it start? When does it start? We know that it's fast growing, that once it takes place, it usually accelerates pretty quickly. And you can diagnose it by ruling out other things. And when you start behavioral modification, if it is idiopathic rage, it doesn't respond to clearing neural pathways like you normally do. Because dogs, in their eternal wisdom, when you show them a better way of being, because they're not attached to the story like humans are, they're like, whoa, wait a minute. And they go the other way. They don't look back. Humans are like, well, wait a minute. I was getting some sympathy for that story. I don't know if I want to let, you know what I mean? So dogs are easier to get going in a positive direction once you get that neural pathway clear. But with idiopathic rage, you do the work and the dog still gets worse. So that's how you start to make your diagnosis. And then when it does get worse, the targets increase. We call targets the things that a dog is going after. And so the targets become more numerous. Like today, it's dogs that were in the pack. Now it's dogs that are in his mom's pack. It's dogs that are next door. But it's going to also become targeted at humans and birds. You know what I mean? The targets will become more numerous. And what worries me is, of course, she has an 8-year-old and a baby on the way, and that is dogs tend to, and so do people, when we have unbalance in the brain, you tend to target those things that are weaker than you. It's a natural, we're all programmed that way because of pack order. We have pack order too, just like dogs do, and giraffes and horses and wolves. But if we're going to climb up in pack order, we're not going to start with the leader of the pack. We're going to start with the lower members of the pack, right?
Mm. Well, I would imagine that would be done in the dog's world because you want to show dominance. So
Yeah,
let's
that's how you do it.
lowest hanging fruit, if you will. So that,
Exactly.
yeah, you know what, I'm stronger than that one, I'm bigger than that one, and then on to the next and next. Is there anything that we would or should look for that would indicate that this is inherent in our dog?
You can't.
Mm,
There's really nothing. There's no test. There's nothing except
yeah.
when you start to see that rage, and it is rage. I mean, it's not like Reggie trying to bite me and be sneaky about it.
Right.
It's absolute full-blown rage, like broken fingers, injuries, like it is. You cannot stop it until you get that dog sequestered into another room and get the whole picture changed. That is the first thing that makes me think, okay, we've got to put idiopathic rage on the diagnosis table here. But and then after that, again, you start to use behavioral modification. You start to try to clear neural pathways, and it doesn't work. It gets
Mm,
worse.
wow.
You have to be very careful when you are working with these dogs, because when you have a pit bull like this, I mean, it's dangerous.
The
So what I
weapon,
do,
it can be. Um,
I mean, if that rage turns on, and because I have to see the rage, because I have to see where it's coming from, and I can't clear a neural pathway unless I see, like Reggie bite me. I had to have him try to bite me. I have to see that pit bull go into that mode in order for me to try to clear that neural pathway. So what I do is I have very secure equipment with muzzles that are very humane that I can put on him, and sometimes I get people who say, whoa, 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 I don't want to put a muzzle on Cuddles. He's going to be,
Mm,
Cuddles is like this 120-pound pit bull. He's going to be sad, he's going to be, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, let's talk about this a little bit. Muzzle on Cuddles for a short period of time. Let's weigh that with Catherine going to the emergency room, perhaps Catherine losing a finger, I don't know, something like, what is going to be you know,
mm.
so can we just go with Cuddles having a muzzle on for a short period of time so we can be safe?
So now we're talking extreme cases
Yeah.
in terms of unwanted behavior. How about something a little less scary, but a correction that needs to be made? But how do we do that correction correctly?
Let's say one last thing about idiopathic rage. That's why I brought it up today. See, I'm already seeing my first case and it's not January. Years past, I have not, my dogs are going to howl for this whistle that goes off. I've only seen maybe one or two a year. I'm seeing more. We're getting more of this. So that's why I wanted to make people aware. But yeah, let's go with something less, and that would be your dog exhibiting unwanted behavior, which is, yesterday I just had an instance where one of my dogs was uh, curling her lip at another dog that was walking by because she had a bone. Can't do that.
Mm,
You allow that, that's going to bleed into other aspects. You know, she can have her bone, but she doesn't need to do that. And so you have to correct these things at the onset when you see the behavior in a very small way that's unacceptable. So what I did with her was I went over, she was on her pillow bed, which was high up. And I made her get off her pillow bed and get on the ground and have her bone. And then I had the other dog walk by a couple of times so I could correct the behavior. But the first thing I did was and I tell this to my clients, take them off their throne. So if they're on your bed, if they're on the couch, put them on the ground, because immediately that establishes dominance.
mm.
You can't be on that high place if you're going to act like that. And then you repeat the behavior and you get ready for the correction. So my dogs know enough that she knew she stepped out of line. So when the other dog walked by, she was like, I ain't doing that again. So she
Mm.
just sat there with her bone like that. And then she actually, when she was done with it, left it for the other dog. Good, good. But see, my dogs have been doing this since they were little, so they kind of know. Don't be an asshole. Share, right?
This is why you hire somebody to help you out with this, because the whole on the bed, on the couch, where they're higher up, I wouldn't even think about that. But that's pretty in my I'm I'm
Not
the
gonna,
novice here.
yeah.
That's big stuff.
Yeah, you're not going to get it done with them being in that high position. I've seen people try to get corrections from that high position, and the dog is like, why would I listen to you when I'm on my throne and you're not? You know what I mean? It just,
I
there's
know
so,
what you mean.
there's,
And I don't know if I shared this with you. It was about 4 years ago, the first time I ever brought my dog, who is now 7.5, to a dog park. And, I know what to expect. The other dogs, I hope it goes well. As soon as he walked into the dog park, and he's, 20 something pounds, 23 pounds, the first thing he did, to your point, was jumped up on a park bench, got his two paws in front of him, stood up tall, and just started mouthing off. Almost as if he was telling everybody else,
yeah.
look at me, I'm here.
Mhm.
I'm large and in charge, even though he's not. And maybe after like 20 seconds or so, he jumps off, starts looking around, and then starts running with the pack, if you will, and just, hangs out
Yeah.
with the other dogs. But he had to get higher than the other dogs, and he saw that bench and used that opportunity.
Yeah. And I have said before, your dog is smart and he's smaller and he knows it. And he's like, what can I do to establish some dominance in a very nice, because your dog's a nice guy. in a nice way, just to let them know they can't beat me up. I'm here to be a good guy. I want to play. I'm just going to get up here and say, this is who I am. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't make me, but I want to play with you. And
Don't blank with me.
when you think about it, yeah, when you think about it, it was brilliant.
You know what? Yes, it was funny, but also brilliant at the same time, because he was just.
Right? Everybody got it.
Everybody got it. You know, in hindsight, when I look back, I probably should have left him on a leash and walked him around a little bit so there was a more controlled situation. Because even, you know, as his human, it was a little uncomfortable. It's like, well, he's running with them. I hope it goes well. But if something doesn't, I need to run over there, and, you know, on and on and on.
Yeah. And that's what I tell my people to do when you go into a dog park. Keep them on a leash, walk them around, let other dogs come up and get to know them so that the other dogs know this is my baby and you better not mess with them. And then wait till they make friends and then you let them go. Yeah.
And that's what I forgot. And as I've learned from you, they look to us as their protector. In our minds, well, it's an animal. It came from the wild. They got their thing going on. They can handle it. They have teeth, et cetera, et cetera. No, you're their parent. They're looking to you, right?
Yeah, they're their pack leader.
Yes, yes.
We're the liaison to the world, and we have been partnered with dogs for so long that we're almost really family and sort of the same species. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, we consider them humans, but they're not. And in a way, they're kids. So, what does your kid look toward you as? Being the person that protects them and leads them. Just about out of time. Anything quickly we want to add to correction?
Yeah, just don't worry about this idiopathic rage thing, but just know that if you do see something like that, get a hold of me. It's not something that you should just ignore, you know.
Heck no. And even in another dog seeing it, now that we're aware of it, and
you need behavioral. You're not going to get it with training, and you're not going to get it by yourself. It's too serious. Yeah.
Your website is animalpsychologycenter.com?
Yes, sir.
I'm not the pack leader here. You don't have to call me sir. Always wonderful talking with you and just learn so much. And, you know, it's one of those things. If I knew then what I know now, would have done it differently. But, yeah, you can teach an old dog new tricks, too.
Behavior in school. We will someday when our species gets more advanced.
Thank you for today. Love talking with you. Love you and what you do. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Love you too, Steve. Mwah!
Mwah.
Bye. Have a good week.
Not even Valentine's Day, but I'm feeling your Valentine's Day vibe. You celebrate every holiday more than anybody I know, and it's fantastic. There needs to be National Dog Day. I'm sure there is somewhere in there. Yeah.
We'll find out.
We'll create it.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.